Hi, I'm Ravinder Bhogal. I'm a chef and I'm the owner of Jikoni restaurant here in Marylebone. Today you're in the Jikoni kitchen with me and I'm delighted to be cooking a couple of recipes from my brand new book, Jikoni, Proudly Inauthentic Recipes from an Immigrant Kitchen. What I'm about to cook is a little snack that we sometimes serve here at Jikoni. It is a carom seed cracker called a Mathis, which is a North Indian speciality, and I'm making with it some Apple Achaar, which is like a pickled apple, super delicious and not at all hard to do. So I've got my ingredients ready here. I've got some plain flour, just some bog standard plain flour. I've got butter, which I've melted together with some hot water. So about 60 milliliters of hot water and 50 grams of butter. And then my spices, I've got some cumin seeds, which are going to go straight into the flour. And some black pepper too. Just some ground black pepper. And then some sea salt, because they're a savory cracker, and then this interesting spice, which is ajwain or carom seeds. It's really savory in flavor, very sort of aniseed, part of the aniseed family. So similar to fennel, but much, much earthier. And I love using it, especially with fish. It's a great one to have with fish. So you can go without this if you wanted to, just make cumin seed crackers, but I think this spice makes these extra special. So a little bit of that in there. And then I am going to go in and just give it a little stir with my fingers. And then I'm going to go in with the liquid a little bit at a time and just give that a good knead. This really is the kind of cooking that reminds me of my childhood. My mother made these all the time. They're the kind of thing that she liked having around in case anyone popped in. When I was growing up in Kenya, we lived in an extended family and we always just had people dropping in. It was not very formal. So she always had to have something that she could give people as a little snack. And these are ideal because once they're made, you can just keep them in an airtight container and they will keep for a good month, I'd say. Just bring it all together. And you're just going to knead it until you've got a kind of soft but springy dough. You want it to be quite malleable. There you have it. Ideally, you want to rest this for about half an hour, but I don't really have the time now. So I'm going to show you how to make these crackers and how to roll them out. I'm going to divide the dough into two and I'm going to make a little ball out of it. Flatten it out. I've got some extra flour, I'm going to dust it in. And then I'm going to take my rolling pin. This is the kind of cookery I love. This is the cookery of the maternal kitchen that I so love representing here at Jikoni. It's such an underrepresented cuisine, maternal food, home cooking. And I really wanted, when I was creating Jikoni, to really pay homage to or write a love letter to all these incredible female maternal figures who taught me how to cook. And this is the kind of thing that they would do, often very communally. Okay, so once you've got it to that, then you're going to take some butter, which has been sort of softened at room temperature, and you're going to brush the surface of it with plenty of butter. So this is a bit like creating layers for puff pastry. And then I want it to be really, really crisp. So I'm going to take a bit of corn flour and I'm going to sprinkle that over the surface. Okay, so now I'm going to roll them, and you're going to roll them like a little sausage, quite tight, okay, and then sort of squish it and pull it at the same time, so you're making it kind of long. Should be nice and even all the length across. Okay, so that's one, and then I'm going to go with the second one. These are the kind of things that my mother would often have friends around, and create a sort of very communal kitchen, and all these women would make these together, and by the end of their cooking day they'd have about 500 of these crackers. They always made these things in bulk. Obviously, just make sure that your butter is nice and soft and spreadable, not fridge cold. Okay, and then the corn flour to crisp things up. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a nice roll. And then lengthen it out, stretch it out. I must warn you, these are dangerously addictive. I don't really have them in my house more than maybe a couple of times a year, because once you have them, they're very, very easy to eat. Okay, so I have my 2 rolls, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the fridge just to chill for about 20 minutes or so while I get on with making the apple achar, which is going to accompany them. I love pickles. This is exactly what an achar is. It's a pickle, a wonderful way of preserving things. So I've got some oil heating up in this pan here, and into that I'm going to crackle my spices. So this is panch foran, otherwise known as Bengali pickling spice, and it's a mixture of panch or 5 spices. So there's fenugreek seeds in here, mustard seeds, fennel seeds, cumin seeds, and nigella seeds. So all really wonderfully oily spices. And essentially what you're doing is you are crackling them or popping them, tempering them in hot oil. And when that happens, they release their natural oils into the oil, giving you a deliciously spiced oil. So you can see the oil is hot. They're already beginning to crackle. And they will smell incredible. They're all such strong, oily spices. They are going to smell incredible. And then to that, I'm also going to add a tiny little bit of chili flakes. Okay. Once you can really smell, I mean, it's very quick. You'll smell them very, very quickly, and they've crackled and popped and all of that. Then you're going to go in with ginger, all of that. Some garlic, cook that out. It smells absolutely incredible. So while the ginger and garlic are cooking, I'm going to tell you about my apples. So I've got a little J cloth here, but muslin if you have it. I've just chopped up 2 apples, skin on, everything still on, and I put a bit of turmeric and salt over them, and I hung them overnight. And what that does is you're going to lose a lot of the liquid, so they'll keep their shape, they'll keep quite nice and firm because they've lost their liquid, and they have a lovely golden color from the turmeric. I'm going to add a little bit of light brown sugar to that. Essential for every pickle, vinegar. I've got white wine vinegar here. Wonderful. And I'm just going to let that kind of dissolve. I want to dissolve the sugar, and I want it to come to a bubble. And I'm just going to tumble in the apples. Vinegary, sugary, spicy mixture. Make sure they're all well coated. And really, that'll be ready to eat in about an hour or so. And you can keep this in a jar for about a week, a nice sterilized jar. I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to get ready to roll out my Mathis and fry them. So I have just taken my rolls of matti dough out of the fridge and I'm going to start preparing them. And this really is easy. So I'm going to cut off the ends. And then I'm going to make little cuts, so almost like little nuggets. Out of these. And then when I have a few, I'm just going to take it, put it on its side, and then I'm going to sort of press it down but diagonally, and then I'm going to roll it just straight lengthways, just like so. That's about right. And what that does is it creates a wonderful sort of layering. So when you fry it, it's almost like flaky, like puff pastry. And again. So once you've got them, you're just going to drop them into the fryer. And again, I've heated this to about 180, 175, and I'm just going to quickly fry them off. When you're frying these, just be careful not to overcrowd the pan, because what happens then is your temperature of your oil is going to go right down and you're not going to get that lovely crisp matti that we're looking for. And these are just going to be so moorishly good and addictive to eat. So they'll just float up to the surface of the oil, and you want to give them a good few minutes on either side until they're lovely and golden brown. Just make sure when they come out of the fryer, you just give them some time to drain properly, because you don't want them to be oily. So I fried up quite a few of these, and you can see, I want to show you, I'll show you one of the earlier ones I fried. You can see that lovely kind of layering and puffiness that you get, but that's what makes them so irresistible. I think they go really, really well with a cheese board. And I've got these lovely cheeses from my friend and neighbor Patricia at La Fromagerie. There we are, and some of this Apple Achaar. And there it is, my perfect cheese board with my carom seed Mathis, Bramley Apple Achaar, and I would probably serve it with something charismatic to go with it.